The Sixers had the 8th best record in the league, the 4th best record in the East, and the 5th best net rating last season. Playoff disappointments have become far too common for the 76ers. Whether it be the heartbreaking Kawhi shot, the sweep against Boston in the bubble, or the loss in 7 to the 5-seeded Hawks, I don't know if there's any heart left in Philadelphia to break. That makes their loss in 6 to the Heat this year seem bearable. The Sixers are seemingly on the clock with Embiid and Harden's age and injury history. That's why it is vital that they maximize every asset they have, and this pick is no different. So, who are they likely to select? Well, I've scoured the internet for mock drafts to get information and selected 4 players I think have a chance to be selected by them, and I'm going to give you some info on them. So, without any further dilly-dallying, let's get into it. Let's start off with Walker Kessler out of Auburn. It's very much become a theme for the 76ers in recent years, but they always seem to get absolutely obliterated every minute Joel Embiid is not on the court in the playoffs. That backup center spot has been a weak point for the Sixers for the longest time. Don't get me wrong, I love B-Ball Paul, but I'm just not sure Doc Rivers does. That's why Kessler could be a very smart pick here. He's a monster defender on the interior and put up some ridiculously high block numbers at Auburn. He struggled on the perimeter and will mostly be a drop defender. That really reduces his ceiling as a prospect. He should be a threat inside on the offensive end as well, and I like him as a role in the pick and roll. He could definitely be the long-term option for the Sixers behind Embiid. Next, let's talk about E.J. Liddell out of Ohio State. The Sixers shot the 4th least threes last season. Having more guys in the roster who can stretch the floor and hit shots reliably would be very helpful. Liddell should be able to offer that, as he's now had 2 seasons of at least decent 3-point shooting at the college level. He does offer some shot creation potential and post-game too, which would further diversify the offense. His playmaking also tends to get a bit underrated. Liddell should offer great rim protection from the forward positions too. The big downside with him is his age and upside, but the other side of that coin is that he should be able to contribute immediately. Next, let's talk about Kennedy Chandler out of Tennessee. The Sixers really don't have a true point guard on the roster, other than maybe Jaden Springer. So, why not draft another Tennessee guard in Chandler? He is pretty small, but he's speedy, is a decent ball handler, and brings the intensity on defense. The jumper was quite iffy though, and despite his effort, he will more than likely be targeted defensively in high-level player situations. That really puts a ceiling on his potential, but if he can smoothen out some of his edges, I think he could grow into that backup role for the Sixers, and maybe even be a regular season starter moving forward. Lastly, let's talk about TyTy Washington out of Kentucky. Washington is more of a combo guard than a true point, but that's not because his playmaking is questionable. Washington averaged 7.7 assists per 100 and had a 23% assist rate for Kentucky. He's also perfectly capable of playing off the ball. He shot 35% on predominantly catch and shoot threes. He's got some good speed and burst and was an improving pick and roll conductor. His defense wasn't super impressive, but he did manage 2.6 steals per 100, which is good. He is certainly more versatile than Chandler too, and I could see him having a longer playoff life because of his additional size and relative reliability shooting.